Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how, if you're an infrastructure agency, delivery agency, say schools, health, justice, whatever it is, or housing, you can use templates in Giraffe to rapidly assess sites, portfolio sites. It starts with a template. So here is a school that I've built. And in Giraffe, you can always organize your data in whatever way you want, build your data architecture in whatever way you want. I've chosen to use groups here. So I've got a classroom cluster that has got these 4 features in it, these 4 classrooms, sort of this passage and an escape stair over there. I've got an admin cluster, which has an amenities and an admin function. And then I've got this outdoor play area, which has got these cool little, it's got this roof and then these handball courts. And I've used Flow Builder over here to define some logic that basically just makes some nice white outlines, just so it looks pretty. And here's another flow over here that puts these trees on my landscape. Now, I haven't grouped the landscape because that is not part of our product book. So what we're doing here is we're trying to standardize our product book, the kind of assets that we build again and again and again. And now I'm going to show you how we can take these and lay them out side to side to side, and also show some of the flexibility. Okay, so we're 1 minute 30 seconds in, and let's say that as an agency, I've just been told to go put a site somewhere here in North Manly. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the cadastre. Most of the time, people will be working in a workspace where they have this kind of information, but Giraffe connects you to tens of thousands of layers. And so I may as well just demonstrate that. And here they are. And let's say we're looking at this site over here. All right, so rather than starting with a blank page and going, oh, maybe I should draw the classrooms over there and we'll put the outdoor play over here, and, blah, blah. I can immediately jump into my design library and I can bring in my clusters. So I go to my template school, and you can see I can group my data by any attribute I want. I used groups. So there's my classroom cluster, my admin cluster, my outdoor play, and then there's no group ID. I didn't group the landscape, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to add those 11. And at this point, I've got to overwrite the metadata. So when this data comes in, this template school, it's going to bring in all the metadata, all the attribution that I have on those classrooms and those handball courts and this roof. Now that could be cost data, that could be service data, as in number of teachers required, number of students served. It could be maintenance data, it could be OPEX data, it could be kilowatt hours, energy, U values, R values, room data sheet stuff. It could be any data or information that makes sense for you to consider at this stage of a project. So I'm going to delete those geometries I drew by hand. And now I am going to draw a site boundary. I'm just going to right click and set this as a project boundary. Done, there's my project boundary. And now, in the same way that I brought in these geometries, I'm going to import the analytics from this template school, because those are going to help me evaluate my design. And in my template school, what my service demand function has set up is a student demand, which is a brief, the space per student, which would be a standard, so therefore the required space, the provided space, and a handball court count. I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to bring them in. And it's going to ask me whether I want to overwrite stuff. Yes, I do, because I want to bring in all that metadata from the template project. There it is. And so you can see my student demand is 160. My space per student is 5. Therefore, my required space is 8. How does that work? I click on that. There's the unit, square meters for space, A times B. So number of students per space per person. Very, very simple to follow. But let's say that my brief here, this is a constant. My brief here is to create space for 440 students. That's why we're looking at sites in this area. There's a future demand for 440 students. And so now our required space is 2,200 square meters, and we're only providing with our single classroom cluster 881 square meters. So we need to get some more classroom clusters. And this is where design comes in. And I'm going to respond to the ground. There's the slope. So there's 10 meters, there's 12. I'm actually going to face these things north, and I'm going to align them to the contours. The reason I'm going to do that is so there's minimal site works, land excavation like this, and I'm trying to create like a kind of a natural feeling cluster of buildings. There we go. So if we do that, we're immediately at 2.6. That's too many. Maybe in our cluster design, we've allowed flexibility for these things to go from 2 levels to 1 level. So I have full flexibility to override the template. I'm never constrained by the template. The template just massively accelerates what I need to do. So I'm going to do that and delete that. And I swear this wasn't planned, but we're 3 meters over the required space. So that job done. Now I'm going to put the covered play over here, and everything's live. So we may do 2 covered plays. There's 8 handball courts, and I'm going to orient the office over here on the street. And now I can do some site works. So I can draw things like building pads or plazas or on-grade parkings or paths. So maybe I'll wend a path through the school, something like this. Turn this guy around so that he faces the path, and then maybe put a little car parking over there. So put some on-grade car parking. Cool. So now I'm doing sort of site-specific design, and maybe I'll just draw a few little arrows saying where the cars come in and where the kids come in. All right, so we're 6 minutes in, and we have got not only a design that is geolocated and responsive and has landscape and terrain if we want it, but also has the analytics that are coming from a standardized view of the world if I was a portfolio manager.